Stephen went to a community college to pursue his dream of becoming a nurse. But all those dreams came to a sudden halt here on this two-lane country road sometime in the early morning hours of July 8th, 2015. What happened to Stephen has been the subject of rumors and speculation ever since.
I heard a name, and that name was, he goes by Buster Murdock. He goes by Buster Murdock. Buster Murdock.
Buster Murdock.
Everybody keeps coming up to me and saying it was Murdock boys.
Over and over and over again.
There were so many rumors swirling around that Buster and Stephen were intimate together. Being gay in the Murdock family would have been looked down upon.
I've known the Murdock family, like I said, pretty much my whole life. Hampton's not a very big town. I feel like they wouldn't want anything happen to their reputation or name or anything like that.
As soon as the Murdock name was tossed into the mix of having something to do like relationship-wise with Stephen, I feel like the view on his case changed entirely. It went from finding justice for Stephen to defending the Murdocks and making sure that everyone knew that they had nothing to do with it. Even if they had, like, people didn't want to consider that. And then the rumors continued to flow about how the night that Stephen died, he had been on the way home from school in his car and ran out of gas.
I just know that he said it was Buster and maybe one or two other people. They were riding down 601, saw the car on the side of the road, I guess saw the boy walking.
Rumor goes, Stephen felt comfortable enough to call Buster for help, and Buster just so happens to be in the area on the way home from the softball tournament with his friends.
They were attempting to, I don't want to say, mess around with him or something like that.
I believe that he picked Stephen up and was fooling Stephen into thinking they were taking him home, but I think they got a little ways down the road, and that's when it all started to unravel. I believe that the Murdocks did whatever the hell it took to keep everyone's mouth shut that night.
Someone told me that it was Buster, and I was like, nothing was going to be done about it because of who he was.
The day that Stephen passed away, Randy Murdock was the second person to call my dad after the coroner, and he said he wanted to take the case and it would be free of charge and everything. It's kind of weird.
I'd want to talk to Buster. I'd want to talk to Alex. But nothing happens in this case. Nothing. Nobody investigates anything anymore. This case just fades away.
A mystery in the Low Country. A mom and son found dead. The circumstances still unknown.
More than 7 years since 19-year-old Stephen Smith was found lying dead on the side of the road in the Low Country. Los Sled reopened the case into his death shortly after the murders of Maggie and Paul Murdock.
The agency says they're, quote, making progress and the case remains active and ongoing.
Breaking news, SLED considers Stephen Smith's death a homicide. We're committed to finding out what really happened and getting the peace and justice the Smith family deserves. Now, this update comes just days after Buster Murdock addressed the rumors and the speculation being told in docuseries and articles claiming that he was involved with Stephen Smith in a sexual romantic relationship and that he could potentially have had something to do with his death. All rumors, of course, all speculation. Well, Buster spoke out and responded in part saying, quote, "This has gone on far too long. These baseless rumors of my involvement with Stephen and his death are false." The statement goes on to further deny any involvement in Stephen's death and ask the media to stop publishing rumors about him.
One thing Chief Keel said is he believes that there's 4 or 5 people that they have targeted that they believe have information that will lead to possibly the killer of Stephen. And he said the reason that they waited as long as they did was because the Murdals had this kind of stranglehold on the community down there, that people were afraid to talk. And he thinks now with the conviction that there is a high likelihood that people are less reticent to talk.
What do you want to tell those people?
I want to tell them, come forward. Have the courage and the decency. If you know information, I really do believe that the time is right for someone to come forward and really give that that golden piece of information, because people talk. And I think there's things on phones and there's things on computers. Stephen was dating some powerful people from what I understand. And there would be communications between them, whether it would be via email or via text, something. And there was also something that was uncovered by SLED during the Murdahl murder investigation, which caused them in July of 2021 to reopen Stephen's investigation. So we shall see. Good evening, everyone. As everyone knows now, Stephen has been exhumed from his grave. This is a trying time for the Smith family, this weekend in particular. Stephen's remains were disturbed. He was, in theory, in peace in his grave. And now that he's been exhumed, and he's going to have his autopsy be done. But this time is a very solemn time, as you can imagine, for Sandy. It's so bittersweet. Stephen, for many, many years, I can only imagine, was not so much at peace in his grave. He probably was pounding on his coffin, saying to anybody who could hear, I was not hit by a car, but I was intentionally killed. And now we've told him we hear his voice. And it's our intention to return Stephen to his grave when the autopsy is concluded. And at that time, the investigation will unfold. We're confident that SLED has made a commitment to use its full force and authority to try to find justice for Stephen and find out who killed him. Thank you very much.